Hey there everybody, welcome to Also Bears, and you join me on the UK launch of this handsome beast, which is the all-new Lexus NX SUV, which also comes as a plug-in hybrid. Now Lexus are not really a brand that kind of sticks to conventional wisdom when it comes to designing cars. Whilst everyone's getting out petrols and diesels, they stuck with hybrid petrols. Okay, yes, they did briefly dip their toe in the diesel pond, but very quickly pulled it out again. Now the NX has been the brand's bestseller in the UK and Europe, so this is a very important model with the all-new NX. And for the first time, it comes as a plug-in hybrid. Now I'm on the UK launch of the all-new NX, so I've only got the car for a couple of hours, but I think, yeah, let's crack on and see what this new NX is all about. When it comes to styling, you can easily recognise a Lexus because of its bold styling. They definitely don't look German. Everything from the UX all the way up to the LC500 has a very distinctive look and a very Lexus look. Now, because the NX is the brand's bestseller in Europe and the UK, they had to take it seriously. And at the first glance, well, it looks a lot more grown up compared to the Mark 1 NX, and I actually really like it. It does kind of look like it wants to take on the Germans, which is a good thing, and actually expand to a new audience. Also, and the other thing I've noticed is, this now looks like the UX's big brother, which means we've got kind of a family look to the Lexus SUV range. So they can only let you know what the RX looks like in a couple of years' time, but it could possibly look like the bigger brother to the NX. Now, one thing I really do like about this new NX is actually the rear of the car as well. Just like the UX, it has that nice light bar at the rear. However, unlike the UX, it's actually kind of split, so you can tell the difference between the UX and the NX. However, it is still a very striking car, and I've got it in F Sport trim, which means it comes with some sporty paraphernalia on the outside, but it does mean it will actually look really good in the car park. And also the F Sport is actually the best-selling spec here in the UK. But you know what? I think that's enough of looking at the outside of this NX. I haven't got it for long. Let's have a little look at that interior. Sat in the front of the new NX, you are greeted by a very comfortable and well screwed together interior, and it also feels a bit different to Lexus's of old. You can definitely see an evolution in their design. Now, of course, this being a mid-sized SUV, getting in and out of the NX is really easy because of that high seating position. And I really do like the door handles on the exterior and interior because they are quite quirky. Now, on the exterior, they look traditional, but actually there's a button on the inside of the handle. And on the interior, well, you can actually open it just using your thumb. I think that's actually really quite cool in its design, and in terms of ergonomics, that's really handy. That just fits really comfortably, so I do like that design. Now, speaking of design of the rest of the interior, we've definitely got a change in where Lexus are going. So firstly, the infotainment screen, which is absolutely massive. It's a 14-inch display, is in the center of the dashboard, but it is slightly tilted towards the driver. So there's definitely a feel that the driver is in charge of everything here in the NX, which I really do like. Now, something that has disappeared is actually the touchpad system we used to see on Lexuses of old, and that was possibly one of the biggest criticisms when it came to the interior. It just could not compete with the likes of BMW's iDrive system. However, this touchscreen is really nice, and once it gets going, it's actually really responsive and fluid, and of course you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto now, so that's a real nice extra feature there. We've also got a digital display in front of the steering wheel, and it does provide you with a huge amount of information, and it can take a little bit of time just to make sure you're aware of where all that information is, and you can go through the various menus on the steering wheel controls. Now, I've got the F Sport with the Takumi Pack added to it, so essentially this is kind of a sporty looking Takumi trim, but I really do like the design in here. It feels very much like a Lexus in terms of the design, but also the quality of the materials as well. There's soft touch plastics all over the place. We've got leather on the armrest and also on the center dash where I can rest my knee against if I'm doing a long journey. Also, this being a Lexus, these seats are bloody comfortable. I think Lexus and Volvo really know how to make comfortable chairs, and these are proper bear chairs. So if you are slightly wider than the average person, then yeah, you're going to feel right at home and very comfortable in the new NX. Also, when it comes to adjustment in the seats, there's plenty of them because they are electrically adjustable with lumbar support, and also the steering has electric adjustment as well. So that's something to definitely boost the tech list on this new NX. Cubby spaces are pretty good in here as well. We've got some decent sized door bins where you can get a small to medium sized bottle of drink in there, but they're not lined with any fabric, so loose items will rattle around a bit. Then on the centre console we have got a wireless charging pad, and there is a little extra area here where possibly you could put your key in there, but it's not lined with any rubber or anything, so any loose change will make a bit of noise. And then just behind there we've got a couple of cup holders, and I do like the fact that they're offset, so it does mean I can rest my arm on the armrest and they're not going to get in the way, so I do like that feature. And then we have got the centre armrest, which when it opens up it actually gives you quite a bit of space, but I can't see any 12 volt sockets or USBs, but that's not really that bad because we have got a USB-C and USB charging input here on the centre console. And then finally we have got the glove box, which is lined with fabric, and it's actually a pretty decent size, and luckily the book pack isn't that thick, so it won't take up too much room. So all in all, in terms of cubby spaces, the NX, yeah, is actually pretty good. Now I've only been sat in this interior for a couple of minutes. I've actually kind of sat in it once and then started filming. But what I do like, and what I've noticed as well, is that we've got a power switch quite high up, but also the kind of drive mode select is not up here as it has been in a couple of other cars like the UX and the LC. It's actually down here on the centre console, which is actually a bit more kind of conveniently placed whilst you're driving along. Then we have got a couple of buttons here on the centre console, one for the parking brake and the auto hold. We've also got an auto EV and HV button, so that will kind of take you from full EV to auto AV if you want to drive around just in electric power alone. And then there is actually a hold charge button as well, so if you want to have the regen braking and the engine charge up the batteries, well, you press that button and it won't use electric at all. It will just charge up that battery if you can't get yourself to a charging place in order to charge up your battery on this plug-in. And then just on the other side we have got the traction control, and we have got an off-road button if you want to take your NX off-road, but this is really going to be more of a soft-roader than a dedicated off-roader, so something to just be aware of. So yeah, first impressions, and these really are first impressions, really positive in the new NX. And I think we should quickly have a little sit down in the back and then have a look at the boot and quickly take it for a drive. Sat in the back of the new NX, it's actually pretty spacious back here. Now that driver's seat is not set to my driving position because it has moved back a couple of inches to allow me to get out of the driver's seat. However, I've got a decent amount of knee room, and headroom is pretty good as well. So you could get a couple of 6-footers sat in the back of the NX and they should be comfortable for a long journey. However, you could possibly get 3 adults in the back as long as they're not as broad as me, otherwise it would be very uncomfortable, but you could easily get 3 kids back here. Now, speaking of kids, yes, we have got Isofix supports on the outer seats, and there's no plastic covers for them, so the bars are exposed, which makes it even easier to affix a child's seat. Then interior quality is actually really good in here as well. We have got soft touch plastics on top of the doors, and we have got leather trim here on the door panels as well. So it does feel like a quality area to sit in the back of the NX. Now in terms of features, we have got a couple of air vents here. We've also got heated seats for the outer seats, which is nice and handy. But we've also got 2 USB charging inputs as well as a 12 volt socket. So you can charge up to 3 mobile devices in the back of the new NX. Now cubby spaces are pretty good as well. We've got some okay sized door bins where you can get a small to medium sized bottle of drink. Again, they're not lined with any fabric. We've got your aeroplane style pockets on the backs of the front seats. And we've also got a centre armrest with a couple of extra cup holders, which is nice and handy. I will note there's no through loading into the boot area, so that's a little bit disappointing compared to some of its German rivals. But all in all, it's actually really comfortable back here. Now, some of the flexibility has been lost. You can't slide the seats forward or back, and there's no tilting in the or reclining in the rear seats. But I'm actually really comfortable. I don't feel like I'm in a kind of straight up and stern position or upright position, so that is pretty handy. Also, the windows are of a nice decent size. Of course, on the S Sport they are tinted, and you'll see a little clip here to let you know if they go up and down all the way, because yeah, I've just got into the back of this new NX. But all in all, it is actually a really nice place to be. If I did have any criticisms, well, yes, with the dark headlining, it can feel a little bit dark and gloomy in here, but other than that, no, it's actually a really nice place to be. So, the back of the NX is looking good. Let's have a little look at that boot and take it for a drive. Opening the boot of the new NX presents you with 545 litres of space, which is actually a pretty decent amount of boot capacity. What I like as well is that you have got a no load lip whatsoever, and there is a scuff plate, so that way you don't damage the paintwork if you are lifting out any bulky heavy items. Now, of course, this being a plug-in hybrid, it does lose a little bit of its versatility, especially under the floor, where you have got room for that extra large battery. Also, we have got a little extra cubby space there for your Type 2 charging cable, which is really handy, so that means it's not kind of lying about in the boot area. Now, when it comes to features, we have got some pretty sturdy tethering hooks, we've got a 12-volt socket and some shopping hooks there as well. And what I like as well, in traditional Lexus fashion, the actual boot cover is made of fabric, so you can actually fold that away and possibly get it underneath the boot floor. But I will find out from Lexus if you can do that. But however, it does mean that you're not going to leave a large bulky parcel shelf at home or in the garage. But yeah, it's a nice wide square load area, so you could easily get a couple of suitcases in here, and it's more than adequate for a couple of weeks shopping at any one time. You've also got a little netted area on the left hand side, and I think probably you could get a set of golf bats in here as well, but don't quote me on that. So yeah, all in all, this new NX is looking pretty good, and I think it's now time we take it for a drive.